you on.
And that situation.
Well, that's not why we got you on, but this is random. This is going to come out well after, and I hope when this comes out, whatever that situation is resolved,
it's worked out.
But
and I'm not going to talk about
that.
the details of it, but it's just the mentality, man. I'll be honest with you. It's like, I don't know what it is in Houston. A lot of artists had this independent mentality, and just did not handle the business as they should have, and so. Believe it or not, man, I'd have so many artists that would end up in my office like, yo, we were sitting back, we did this song, now it's on the radio, it's big, but we ain't got no paperwork, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, and we got to go chase down the money. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of artists that would come in and be like, hey, I signed to this artist for little to nothing, and, they ain't doing what they said they was trying to do. I'm trying to get out of and the thing is none of them read the contracts. None of them wanted to do the business.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got burnt out with that too, because I'm like, it's only so many times, like, I'm going to chase your money down and I'm going to tell you how to do it next time you do a song and you still not doing it. And it's kind of like, man, I don't have time to continue to go back, because a lot of times they don't really have the money. We got to go back and chase the money and do it on a contingent. I'm like, nah. So, it's that mentality that, and here's the thing, just to kind of, give some credit. A lot of times artists, they want to be artists. They don't want to deal with the business aspects of it.
Yeah,
absolutely. So if we cool, I feel like you know what I'm saying, got my best interest at heart. You buying me a couple outfits, you know what I'm saying, you putting a little money in my pocket and we going to rock out together. But, that's not how this business works.
No.
And so, they'll get this contract. They don't even, 10-page contract. They don't understand nothing in it. And they just signing like, all right, let's go. And so from there, I mean, it always ends up going bad. And then even in Meg's situation, I kind of saw how some of that stuff was going on. And then I knew when Rock Nation came in, it was going to kind of stir up the waters. And, now things are getting exposed. And, you signed here, these artists, this label did so much for you, and now you want to do this and take your career to the next level, and you kind of being held. And, honestly, outside of that situation, that's kind of been a Houston.
It's kind of par for the
man.
course.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is one of those things. I mean, like I said, when we were opening, I think the biggest thing, too, about contracts is, contracts are just saying how we're going to deal with each other.
Right.
Like how we're going to deal with each other. And I would say, too, about getting an experienced attorney, it's just your experienced attorney is also going to know about the various situations that can pop up.
Yeah.
In terms of us dealing with each other. So it's like a marriage.
Look at it.
Like,
it is.
We're getting together, and it's like a marriage with this is how we're going to handle it. If this happens, this is what I want to happen. If this happens, this is what I want to happen. If this happens, good or bad, just going straight down the line. And it's kind of funny how people get 10, 20-page contracts. Like, look, the writing's there for a reason.
Right.
Yeah. And if you don't like it,
but like you said, it's legalese. A lot of times artists don't have the money to go and hire their own attorney.
Okay.
And so, they're looking at it. They're like, okay, well, they're really going off of the feel-good relationship that they have with that person. You know what I mean?
Well, just asking, what do you recommend that one would do if they don't have the money for the attorney? Because, it seems like the number one thing that you should do when you're making a record or you're trying to get in the music business is the first thing that you should do now is get a lawyer, correct?
Right. Well, what should happen is sometimes the artist is getting signed to a label. Talk to the attorney and say, look, this is where I'm looking at going. And out of whatever you're getting as an advance or whatever your promise or that needs to be negotiated in that, you make sure that that lawyer gets paid based off of that.
Okay.
Not every lawyer is going to be willing to do that, because if you don't have the time, like, me when I was early getting started, I'm hungry, so I'm like, yo, I need to, I need the money, right?
Money now.
But now it's like, if in certain situations, it's a little bit more difficult. But I think that's what you need to do. You need to talk to some attorneys and try to figure out who will work with you, especially if an attorney or a manager or anybody believes in your talent, then they're willing to stick with you and try to help you out through that process. Okay. But even on the record label side, for me, when I used to draft contracts, and even when I do it now, I will have a full conversation with the label and really get an understanding of what it is that they're trying to do, what their real intentions are, and then at that point, I don't have to put all that legalese in the contract, right? Because if you the more simple and plain you write a contract, it's just clear and it's good business. And so therefore, a lot of times an artist won't, because sometimes you'll put that 10 pages in front of them and they get scared by it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't want to sign it. You know what I mean? I don't want to sign that.
Okay.
So to make it easier, it's like, yo, this is the contract. This is simple and plain. Sometimes I'll have them actually bring the artist into my office and I'll let them know, look, I'm not representing you. I'm representing the label, to be very clear that there's no conflict of interest. But this is what this contract says, and I want you to go and get whatever legal representation that you need or get somebody else to look over it. But I wanted to be clear that there's no hidden terminology. There's no real, no loopholes in this. That this is where we're trying to go, and I think it's all in the vein of good business, man. You do good business, everybody understands what's at the table, like you said. Exit strategy, or this is what happens when the money comes in, or this is how you recoup back this advance that you're getting. It just makes everybody more comfortable, and then you can do business for a long time. Ultimately, that's the goal for me.
Because everything's different when money comes in, and like I said, especially with the record label situation, when you start out, usually the record label is in a much better position than the artist.
Right.
And if an artist gets any kind of cachet out there, now the artist is like, well, now I feel like I'm in a better position than you.
Right.
And I mean, that's what I feel like is going on with the Megan situation.
Yeah, that's what's going on. She's
saying in the video, she's like, I want to renegotiate. I want to sit down. I want to renegotiate.
Well, also,
whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. But artists have done it before. They definitely have been like, yo, that you was talking to me when I was broke.
Exactly.
You was talking to me when I was this person. Now I'm this person, and we got to look at what this is, because what I can bring to you now is a lot different than what I could bring to you before. And so we want to change up things, and your label can decide the same, because your label might push back and be like, hey man, what you can bring to me now is what I was planning for you to do the whole time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it just really depends on how that is,
Yep. I mean, they hit a lotto ticket with Megan, and I think that once she realized the level that she was going to and the different markets that she was going into, then I think her mentality was like, okay, I need somebody with more of an advanced understanding of the music industry. I mean, Carl Crawford was a baseball player, right? And I don't know who all he had in his camp, or has in his camp. But at the end of the day, she obviously thought, well, okay, if Rock Nation, they manage that, they're in this space,
absolutely,
and it kind of goes, both ways. But you're right, man. I mean, it just comes down to that paperwork. I saw Jay Prince jumped in it, and so. It's gonna be interesting.
Jay Prince, I mean, he's responsible for what contract in the music industry. He knows something about contracts.
Yeah.
He knows good business.
You
read his book.
He has good contracts.
He's always
he's got some really good attorneys around him too.
Yeah,
so,
he really does.
A lot
he
of
has
these guys,
the best
man,
attorneys
some
around.
great attorneys around him, man.
So I mean, who knows what happens to that? Hopefully, it all gets rectified. It'll get rectified. There's way too much money on the table.
Oh yeah,
for it to be like, yo, like I mean, it's arguably one of the top. I mean, in terms of female rap, in terms of rap in general, when her album drops, it's just guaranteed.
That's true.
Right.
So that's just one of those things.
Guaranteed
gold.
gold.
If they blew her up and they put the money initially to get her to that platform, man, they got to make sure they carve up their
and I guess that's one of the things where it's like, that's why you want to have your contract dictating what this is, because in the beginning, when there's nothing, it's all love.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, like it's very difficult to be rational once we get to the point where we're arguing. Like
That's
now
true.
it's like, now there's money on the table. It's like, yo, and then you start looking back and it's like, yo, I did this for you. I did this for you. I did this for you. You did that, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it's just back and forth. But if we can always go back to the contract and be like, look, this is what we said.
But
if this happens, that's what it is.
That's the history of the industry, man.
Yeah.
Bad Boy went through it, Cash Money, all that, man. You know what I mean? Yeah.
They all did.
It's
I think Mason out of
Mason still. Mason still. But it's funny about that, even the evolution of the perception of Bad Boy. At one point, people was definitely like, yo, Diddy is out here stealing from all the artists. I think it might have been Styles P.
Yeah.
I think that was like, hey, man,
through a chair.
We was kind of wilding when we was throwing chairs at Diddy. Like,
Jada,
we read the contracts, we saw what it was, and then we felt away when money got spent. You talk about, you see the thing between
you hear with like a lot
Beanie and Jay,
where
he's
a lot
like,
of rappers.
yeah, I got the $1 million.
Yeah.
But
I had a Bentley. I had this. It's like, yeah, you read it. You was poor at the time, but it's like, I think now we've learned to, instead of buying that gold chain and that car, like investing in your talent and investing in the right management and a lawyer can bring you like so much more money. I mean, like I said, guns and butter, and
treat it like a business.
Yeah, people was buying.
You should
butter
treat
the whole
your
time.
art. You should treat like your art like a business. And keeping in mind, like, I mean, I'm biased. I'm on Meg's side. Like, I'm a big like, yo, like,
oh, I am
make
too.
them, like make this work. Like, y'all know what it is. There are points when artists might grow beyond certain things, and it is what it is. But I totally understand as a small label. Or I'm not gonna say they're like just a tiny stuff, but I'm like, as a label, you still want to be like.
I didn't even know that label was. You said it right. That's fucked up. It is true.
But it is one of those
label.
things where it's like,
because when you're used to getting $10,000 a show, now you're getting like $250,000. I'm like,
but I feel like in the record, as people are growing, you're always trying to figure out that balance. It's kind of like if I'm a manager of an artist. And they're growing and they're growing. You hear there are certain artists or sports players and things like that that'll take their management with them. LeBron's notorious for like I took my boys with me and I taught them as we go. And he got a lot of backlash from certain people in the industry, like, why are you just hiring somebody new? And there are other people that are like, yo, I'm getting the new person. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it. You got me here, but this person can get me there. And that's kind of up to what y'all are talking about as y'all are coming up.
Right, and how y'all go through
and it's best to put that stuff on paper.
And you may have to bring somebody else on, but you keep your same people and let them learn from that, so that way, you know, because, I mean, if you got a good team that you trust, you know, then it works like that. But, you know, it all goes back to like those 360 deals. Right? Y'all are familiar with the 360 deals? So the 360 deals, I mean, that's how a lot of that stuff changed within the industry, because the history was like when Soulja Boy and 50 Cent, you know, they had this record deal, but then they started stepping off in the, you know, 50 did the vitamin water deal and did the movie
and all that
then,
other stuff.
Yeah, and then Soulja Boy writing books and doing all this kind of stuff and putting stuff out there, and the label is like, yo, we spent all this money, you know, making y'all big, and we're just making money off the records that you're selling, but you're a celebrity now, right? Like, now you got all this ancillary products, and it's a business.
I felt like that was the labels getting greedy, though. Because I also feel like I get it, where it's like you're now at the point now where you have a lot more stars, and literally just because of the internet, you have a lot more stars that are able to sell themselves as a brand. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, it's like, back in the day, it's like, who's selling stuff? It's like Michael Jackson. He can sell stuff. Yeah. The rest of y'all cool. Like, y'all sell y'all's music.
I didn't
but you ain't getting the Pepsi ad.
But
now it's
the
like
Lionel Richie shirt. Like,
but now it's like, yo, all of y'all can sell something. As a matter of fact, it got to a point where it's like, not only can all of y'all sell something, y'all's main focus is selling stuff. Like, you get artists now that's like, yo, I'm not even pushing this music.
Go
to Macy's.
Well, that's a difference in what's happening now because of, like I said, social media. Like, back then, labels were still spending millions of dollars on videos and all this kind of stuff, right? So they had a huge budget putting people out there, and so and it wasn't the social media jump now. But now, artists don't need a record label, right? No. So with social media, they can end up catching a buzz, turning around and leveraging those followers to sell T-shirts, to sell everything else. And because, be honest with you, like you said, music is free now.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's on Spotify, Apple Music, paying $9.99. Nobody's buying albums anymore. No. So the value of music is really a promotion for what else you can do. You're back in on your tours, your shows, but, you know, you can jump online and put out a T-shirt, or you can jump online and do all these different things and don't have to share it with the label. So then now when we turn around and so now, mind you, these major labels that can get you on the Jimmy Kimmels and all this kind of stuff, you know, what I end up doing is if I have an artist like that, now you've already leveraged your following and you're making money off of that. Now when I sit down with a record label, we're going to determine and carve out this partnership, right? Mm-hmm. Because now if you don't have any experience in putting out clothing or whatever the product is, we'll sell us on why we should partner with you. Yeah. And instead of it being something where we're taking a smaller percentage, yo, this is how big it is already. with your push and with your stretch, I mean, it could grow bigger. So then let's determine what that percentage split is going to be, and let's make it make sense. So, I mean, I can kind of argue it on both ends from a record label perspective and an artist perspective, but it all comes down to artists have a lot more leverage and a lot more power right now because of the social media. I mean, labels used to have camps where they would train. What they call that?
You talking about like A&R stuff?
Well, no. Where they would actually kind of train artists on how to be artists. You know what I mean? And now it's like they're taking the artists that are already out here. They got a pub, and they're like, let us jump on your wave.
That's what it is.
You know what I mean? Let us jump on your wave and then take it further.
Because artists now, I think you would be looking more at who can I partner with. Because I don't need you to necessarily break. You don't have a lot of record labels breaking artists.
Breaking artists, yeah.
Like you don't have record labels that are like, hey, let us get this out to you. Like, well, you got people.